911 police, paramedical.
Yes, my girlfriend shot herself.
Okay, let me connect you to medical.
Police rushed to the scene after this 911 call, only to make a horrifying discovery.
On the right side of her head, kind of below the ear.
The gun is really clean.
The crime scene was heartbreaking, and all that was left was a concerned boyfriend and no clear leads.
Oh, no, we can't go in. We can't go in. We can't go in. No.
And soon, the once worried boyfriend would turn out to be a prime suspect.
He told me what happened.
He told you what happened? What do you mean?
After the 911 call on March 17, 2018, officers arrived at the Tulsa home of 30-year-old Jermico Willis.
Looks like we're going to West Island Complex.
You guys made contact yet? No.
Inside the house, they found Jermico with another man and a woman, and Aisha lying unresponsive on the floor. Officers rushed to help, but despite their efforts, it was already too late.
We need room to help her. Can't go in. Can't go in. No.
Now, all that was left inside the house was Aisha's lifeless body and her husband struggling to comprehend her death.
On the right side of her head, kind of below the ear. Stippling right there?
I don't know. The gun is really clean. There's plastic along the staircase coming down.
Up the staircase, the mark of the bullet indicated that the gunshot went through the hole, and behind that door, the police found a 9mm projectile lying on the kid's bunk bed. While searching for any signs of foul play, the police discovered a crucial lead from the neighbors.
Somebody heard something?
Oh, yes. She said she heard it sound like somebody falling downstairs. And then somebody said, I need you.
You heard any arguing going on before?
She did say. And all she heard, I need you.
To verify claims about Aisha's mental health struggles, the police interviewed her father and another close relative, focusing on insights from those closest to her.
Has she had any issues with depression?
No.
Being sad?
Oh, no.
What about suicidal tendencies? Has she ever attempted suicide in the past?
She ain't never talked about it. I mean, if she did have an issue, we talk about it.
Yeah, she's very happy.
She lives here with some babies. How old are they?
7, 4, 3.
Were any of them here when this happened? No. Okay. Are any of these children with Mr. Willis?
No.
What have you guys heard about them having any beefs or confrontations or anything?
As far as I know, they haven't had any.
She don't tell me because the daddy will come and bust his head open.
Today, I was at a baby shop. He called me. He told me she had the gun and she was playing with it and it went off.
See, that don't make no sense. My daughter grew up around guns. She know better to play with them for sure.
Is that her gun?
No, she don't own a gun.
After speaking with her father and hearing the neighbor's statement, detectives realized things didn't add up. It seemed like there were more secrets hidden beneath the iceberg. Hence, detectives sent Aisha's body for an autopsy to find the truth. Meanwhile, her boyfriend, Jermico, his brother Terry, and his sister-in-law were taken into custody for further investigation.
What I'd like to do is talk to you about kind of what happened in the apartment, talk to some family members and stuff, and they said that you were there when this tragedy occurred, okay? Tell me what happened today.
Conflicting stories began to emerge as Jermico broke his silence. His version of events was nothing like what the others had claimed.
When he got from work, came home, he just went upstairs and started cleaning up. Went to the bathroom, came back out, and she had the gun playing with it and had it to her head.
Oh, so she was playing?
Yeah, playing with the gun. I didn't think that it was going to go off or that she was serious or nothing like that.
What was she saying when she was playing with it?
Nothing. I was just like, stop. She was like, no, no, no. And when I started walking towards her, she moved to the hallway and put it by her head.
Okay.
And I went to grab it, it went off.
I know you're emotional. You're upset. And that's fine. That's normal. When did she get this gun?
I don't know. I just found out today. When she pulled it out and had it.
Did she say anything about wanting to shoot herself?
She had said that in the past, but I didn't think it seriously or nothing like that.
Why do you think she did this?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
I just don't know why she would play around with a gun like that. That's weird to me. It doesn't really add up with the girl that everybody's told me she is.
He looked devastated by grief, but the detectives were eager to get to the bottom of it.
After the gun goes off, what happens to her? What does she do?
She falls down the stairs.
Then what do you do?
I start trying to shake her and wake her up. She won't wake up. I tried to call the 911 and it wouldn't go through. So I called my brother, then I called 911 again, and they answered.
Who's your brother?
Terry Willis.
Jermichael made a suspicious remark which left the detectives unsure whether he was a witness or a suspect in this case.
Do you have your cell phone with you?
No, I don't.
But you had it then when you called?
Yeah.
If it's not in the apartment, where else would it be?
I can't tell you. I just know I didn't have my phone.
Did you give it to your brother by chance?
Mm-mm.
Did you mess with the gun after the shooting?
No.
Okay, so you didn't pick it up and mess with it or anything?
I grabbed it and moved it, threw it out the way.
Meanwhile, Jermichael's brother, Terry Willis, was brought in for questioning regarding his involvement in the incident.
I got a phone call, and he's screaming and crying and saying that his girlfriend killed herself. And I said, what? And then I was like, man, I'm on my way, so I told my wife.
So do you guys go together?
Yeah, we went together.
In what car?
In her car. A Silver Lexus.
When you get there, what happens?
I jumped out the car, and my wife jumped out. And when I went in there, he was on top of her crying. I grabbed him, and I was like, man, come on, man. And he was like, nah, man, why she do that?
Did you see the gun? Or?
The gun was right here by her hand. And when I picked him up, I kind of kicked it over a little bit so nobody wouldn't get hurt, and pulled him up off of and took him out outside.
All right. Anything else?
Nah, that's it, man.
Something felt off to the detectives. Jermichael's failure to hand over his phone, along with his claim that he'd never seen the gun before, sparked concern. These alarming red flags pushed investigators to dig deeper, leading them to reconsider everyone close to the case. This time, the detectives shifted their focus to Terry's wife. They approached her directly and requested permission to search her car. However, her reaction triggered the detectives' concern, suggesting there was more to the story than she was willing to reveal.
When we leave here, can you give them access to the Lexus? Do you have the keys to it?
Do I have to do that?
Well, what we want to do is make sure that he did not put the phone in there. Is the cell phone in there?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Then what I would like for you to do is give me the keys so when we tow it, we don't break up your transmission.
Okay, well, it's not my name.
Doesn't matter whose name it's in. You can give me permission to look in that car for the cell phone.
I don't want to be involved in none of it, to be honest.
I am going to tell them to tow it without the key.
Terry's wife refused to grant access to her car, further deepening uncertainty about her involvement in the case. Detectives found it increasingly difficult to believe any of the three individuals' claims. Determined to overcome the lies, they confronted Jermichael again, but this time with the hardest question yet.
This is Detective Kennedy. Just got a few questions.
Now, I've been listening to this a little bit. What I don't believe is it's her gun.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Where would she get a gun?
I don't know. Ain't real.
No, it's not real. It's kind of bizarre, to be quite honest with you. It's a young girl that's never owned a gun before, had a gun before that you know of, that we know of. And all of a sudden, a gun shows up. I want to be honest with you. I don't think she brought that gun. I think you did.
I'm just ready to take it on.
And I understand what you're ready to do. Just going to ask you a hard question. Did you shoot her intentionally?
Jermico's statement left detectives puzzled, making them question their sanity. He was confident, insisting he had no involvement in the case, yet his words felt inconsistent. Unconvinced, detectives decided to dig deeper by running a background check on him for any criminal history. What they found wasn't just suspicious, it was unsettling.
It appears that he's been arrested and convicted of aggravated assault and battery, burglary, and possession of a firearm. It appears that Jermico has threatened multiple girlfriends and used violence on some of these girls. This one report right here is pretty disturbing. It says that Jermico took a knife and tried to cut one of these girls. Another girl kicked her in the head, punched her in the face.
After this, the detectives became certain about Jermico's involvement in the case. His clothes were taken for forensic testing to eliminate any possibility of foul play.
Do you mind the word is home?
Yeah, you're not going home, you're going to jail.
What am I going to jail for?
For being there with a gun at the house. You're not supposed to. You're on federal paper. Well, you're getting ready to go now.
Jermico was arrested on March 19, 2018 for the possession of firearms. Detectives were eager to search his phone after his arrest, hoping it would reveal the truth, but before they could get to it, there was one crucial lead they had to chase.
I want to follow up with the neighbor who heard noises before this happened. Maybe she remembers more now that she's had time to think about it.
The next day, detectives called the neighbor who had heard suspicious noises from Aisha's apartment. She shared information that could bring some light into the case.
Ma'am, I really appreciate your help. She says that she hears around 3, somebody was falling down some stairs. She says at least 20, if not 30 minutes later, police still were not there. So it was quite a while. She says she looks out the window and sees at least one black male, maybe 2. She said then minutes later, police arrive. So he didn't call 911 immediately. He waited and called probably his brother before calling for help.
Which is not something that somebody does when their girlfriend kills themselves.
This delay was a red flag in itself that warranted further investigation. With these doubts in mind, the detectives proceeded to Aisha's apartment. They interviewed several neighbors and carefully reviewed any available surveillance footage to piece together what had really happened outside that day.
Detective Calhoun worked for the Tulsa Police. Hey, were you outside yesterday when all the police were out here?
All I know was for 1 month now, the police have been coming 3 times. And yesterday was the most severe.
Really? They come to the same apartment?
Yeah.
Okay, did you hear any gunshots?
No.
Hear any noise or anything?
No.
The fact that police had visited the house multiple times only made it more evident that something wasn't right. Meanwhile, the other detective had no luck with the surveillance cameras, and there was no footage to review. With each dead end, the case grew more unsettling, as if the truth was just out of reach. However, they had something, the autopsy report. It could finally give them answers, or point them toward the right questions to ask this time. When the results came in, they revealed interesting details that didn't just stand out, but confirmed the detectives' suspicions.
This is the entrance wound. There's no stippling at all around it. There's no soot around the wound or anything.
With the stippling, what would you normally see right in here?
If it was a contact wound back here, I would expect to see some tearing or some soot around the wound. There's nothing there. And that's telling me this is going to be a distance shot, 30 inches or greater.
Well, that's interesting because that sounds like it's impossible for her to hold the gun out and shoot herself. I think he shot her.
The bullet entering from 3 feet away ruled out the possibility of self-infliction. With this crucial detail, detectives had enough probable cause to charge Jermico with first-degree murder. However, their investigation was far from over. There were still more gaps to fill.
We don't want this case to rest solely on ballistic evidence, so we need to get Jermico's phone to look in there. In addition to that, we need to interview some ex-girlfriends. We want to be able to show a pattern of violent behavior.
Finding answers in this case became more critical than ever. 2 days later, detectives searched the vehicle that Jermico's brother Terry and his sister-in-law had used. They suspected that Jermico had handed his phone to his brother and that Terry had stashed it in the car, possibly hiding crucial evidence.
It's a silver Lexus. Yeah, that's it. I appreciate you guys coming down here to do this. All right, let's start the search. Can't see much back here. He's got mail in this car. So when he says, oh, that's not my car, I don't do anything in it, here's proof.
Jermico's phone had been there all along, tucked away in the car, just as detectives had suspected. With it finally in their hands, they knew this could be the key to getting to the truth. Then, 1 week later, the cybercrime unit got to work. When they finally cracked it open, what they found inside wasn't just evidence. It had the power to turn the entire case on its head.
There's like 3,000 or 4,000 photos.
That's a pistol. Oh, dude. That's probably the gun.
What made the photo of the gun so suspicious was the timeline. It had been taken just 2 weeks before Aisha was killed. That wasn't just a coincidence. It was an essential piece of the puzzle. With this breakthrough, detectives looked deeper into Jermico's call logs. What they found made his web of lies even clearer.
What is this? March 17th. That's his brother's phone number. There's several outgoing calls. Look at that. He said he called 911 first, but that's a lie.
With all of his lies catching up to him, Jermico had no idea the cops had already found a crucial piece of evidence. His secret wasn't safe anymore. It was about to explode into the open. He didn't just call his brother once, he called him 5 times before dialing 911. Reaching out to Terry so many times made it seem like his brother wasn't just a bystander, but possibly part of something bigger. However, before looking into that lead, detectives decided to focus on Jermico's ex-girlfriends, women who all had a history of abuse at his hands.
I don't know what Terry's role was in this incident right now, but I do know a little bit about Jermico's history with ex-girlfriends. Some of the allegations are just horrendous. Now, it's possible that he just went too far, that maybe he shot her. Maybe he was calling his brother to seek some advice or ask for help to clean up the scene.
A month after Aisha's death, detectives brought in one of Jermico's ex-girlfriends for questioning, hoping she could provide something valuable to the case. However, they weren't prepared for the revelations she was about to share.
I appreciate you coming down here. Did anybody force you to come down here to talk to me or anything like that?
No, actually, I've been told not to talk to you all.
Okay, and who told you that?
Terry has been sending messages to people to deliver to me.
So you said someone reached out to you?
Yeah, Terry's ex-girlfriend. She sends me a message that says, call me ASAP. So I call her. And she said, well, Terry wants me to tell you when you do talk to the detectives, don't say anything bad, just speak highly of him.
This was shocking, to say the least. Terry was allegedly working to protect Jermico. However, detectives still pressed on, determined to understand more.
I'm investigating Aisha's death, okay? And as you know, Jermico Willis has been arrested for it. Your name came up as someone who used to date him. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
In the beginning of the relationship, Jermico was okay. It was sweet. It was loving. And the first time he hit me, it was at the club. He said I was eyeballing another dude, but I got knocked out.
Like he punched you in the face and knocked you unconscious?
Mm-hmm. I call it boot camp. But I was in a relationship, it was boot camp. Mm-hmm. And he's the sergeant. So when I did see the news, she, in a way, she committed suicide. She probably stood up for herself. And he shot her, and I bet the first person he called was Terry.
When she said this, detectives were stunned. She had mentioned Terry without them ever mentioning his name. It was becoming clear that they were on the right track. The pieces were finally coming together.
Have you heard that, or is that just kind of your gut instinct?
That's my instinct.
Okay.
Because when He would beat me to where I was barely breathing. That's the person he would call was Terry. And I know with me talking to y'all right now, I can very much possibly end up like Aisha, because the main person that teaches Jamiko everything is still out here. Terry.
First, let me say this. I understand just talking to you that you're scared of his brother. I'm looking at his brother too. But if his brother's gonna go around and continue to do this, I'm gonna lock his brother up.
I don't know. It seems like Terry, he gets what he wants.
What I need is good, strong people like you who would be willing to help us if we need it, okay? This may be the opportunity where you can stand up. And you can show him that you're not afraid of him.
I want to help. I do. I'm going to help.
The ex-girlfriend wanted to help, but the trauma of Jermico's abuse still stayed, haunting her with every word she spoke.
When I looked at Aisha in that casket, it was like looking at myself. And I wish I could have been strong enough to stand up to him. I mean, because it's 3 babies now without a mother.
Detectives saw her as a crucial witness, someone who could finally solidify their case against him. A month later, Jermico was taken to court with 2 key witnesses. One was his ex-girlfriend, and another one of his ex-girlfriends was prepared to testify. But in a shocking turn, a woman approached them before court, threatening one of them to stay silent. Police saw this as a clear attempt to weaken the case and immediately tracked her down. She was identified as Delez Roan, who was quickly arrested before she could silence more voices.
They stopped her out in East Tulsa. My game plan is to talk to her and see if she'll admit to this intimidating of witnesses. I'm gonna take those handcuffs off you. You got a warrant, and it looks like you're gonna be spending some time in jail.
What?
Yes, ma'am. You have a warrant here for intimidating a state's witness.
Roan looked genuinely terrified, but whether it was genuine fear or just an act was still unclear.
I understand that. That's why it's important you tell the truth, and you need to do the right thing. And if you care about your babies, you need to stop trying to help Jermico.
I'm not trying to help him. I don't want to be involved in this.
You are involved. Listen to me. You're wrapped up in this now. That day at the courthouse, you show up. There's an exchange of words between you and these other girls, right?
Why so I just talk to Terry? Why don't you go say hello to Terry?
You got to understand, these other girls are scared to death of Terry. And when you walk up in the victim witness center and you say, oh, Terry says hello, these girls think Terry's going to kill them. You talk to him. What did he say?
He said, if them bitches come up there, let me know. He said, I want them followed.
Okay, who was going to follow them?
I don't know. First, he wanted me to do it, but I told him I'm not doing that. And Terry wanted me to meet him.
The detective was suspicious from the start. She seemed to be hiding more than she revealed. However, Roan did admit that after leaving the courthouse, she went to Terry's apartment to meet him. What she said after would be the missing piece detectives had been searching for.
I need to know the truth.
He told me what happened.
He told you what happened? What do you mean?
Aisha.
What did he tell you?
He told me what happened that day. He said his phone started ringing, and it was Jermico. And Jermico said Aisha killed herself. He said that when he got to the scene, Aisha was laying on the ground. And he said that he knew when he seen the body position that Jermico killed her. There's a gun right there. And he said it didn't make sense because if she fell, the gun wouldn't be there.
All right.
So he said he kicked the gun. And he said that way you guys wouldn't be Jermico positioned it.
So he said he kicked it intentionally so that to kind of throw us off? Okay.
He's like, I don't know what's wrong with my brother. He said he felt like they were arguing and that he just got mad and shot her. After he told me about the Aisha thing, he said, I can't tell you what to do, but don't go against my brother. So I'm warning you right now.
Hearing this, the detective knew Terry had to be arrested too.
So if I want to go find Terry, aside from that apartment, can you think of any other place I need to look?
No.
The hidden phone, the calls before 911, and now multiple witnesses pointing to his involvement in Aisha's murder. There was no way they could let this slide.
We've got a warrant on him for intimidating a witness. And now we're going to do an add-on for accessory to murder. My plan is to get some people in that apartment where we think he's at. We got to get him today, dude.
Detectives hoped that reaching Terry and uncovering the truth would be the final piece of the puzzle. But first, they had to find him, and time was slipping away. At last, just hours later, detectives tracked down Terry Willis and brought him in for serious interrogation.
I guess Officer Anthony, you wanted to talk to a detective, and you said, yeah, is that right or no?
Yeah, what is it about?
That's your warrant. The district attorney filed charges on you for intimidating a state's witness. There's evidence that you were trying to figure out addresses for 2 girls, okay? And that you...
So I can go talk to them.
Okay,
not threaten them.
But hear me out. Were you going to try to talk them out of testifying?
No, not at all.
Because that's not how it looks on paper. I'm just telling you, okay? That's not how it looks.
I understand that, but that's not what it was.
All right. Well, I mean, that's something you're going to have to explain in court, okay? Let me ask you this, man to man. When this thing happened that day with Jermico, you went over to the apartment. When your brother tells you, hey, man, she shot herself, and then you see that gun there, do you think anything's fishy about that?
I didn't think nothing of it. I was just tripping out because I'm looking at this dead body.
Once again, Terry repeated his version of events, but the detective had a card up his sleeve that could change everything.
What if I told you that there's information that you made a statement that you didn't think that that girl shot herself, that you thought your brother was responsible for it? Would that be a lie?
Yeah, it's a lie.
Okay. All right. What if I told you there was information that you deliberately moved that gun because you thought the scene was staged?
Terry wasn't willing to answer many questions, but the evidence against him was overwhelming. In the end, he pleaded guilty to charges of witness intimidation and accessory to murder, receiving a 10-year sentence. Meanwhile, the charges against Delez Roan, accused of intimidating witnesses, were later dismissed. As for Jermico Willis, he had originally faced a first-degree murder charge, but in the end, he pleaded guilty to second-degree murder. On April 12, 2021, the court handed down his sentence: 20 years behind bars for the murder, plus 10 more for possessing a firearm. However, both sentences would run at the same time, sealing his fate for the next 2 decades. Though justice was served, nothing could ever bring Aisha Wallace back. Her story was a painful reminder of how the people closest to us can sometimes be the most dangerous.
This is a sad case. Our victim here was doing everything right in life. She was raising her children, she was working. It was just a tragedy. I hope that these arrests bring some closure to the victim's family.
Aisha's story was nothing short of heartbreaking, and no one felt the weight of her loss more than her father, who was devastated upon hearing the news.
I'm dead inside. I mean, a part of me died. When they told me she was dead, I felt my spirit leave me. I miss her smile and her laugh. My baby is my best friend. I keep hoping my phone's gonna ring and she's gonna say, Daddy, I'm on my way to come get my car and I'm getting the kids and we're going home. But I know that's never gonna happen.
Before we go, our deepest condolences to Aisha Wallace's family. Our thoughts are with them as they heal from this tragic loss. What do you think about this case? Do you believe Terry was just an accessory, or was his role in Aisha's murder more significant than we know? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Become a member today and unlock exclusive perks and interesting deep dives you won't find anywhere else. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Mysterious 7. Stay curious, stay cautious, and we'll see you in the next one.